Have you here at Meat Free. I have a few questions to ask you, which hopefully you don't mind answering for us today. So, why is meat free an exciting category to be involved in?
Well, we at V-Bites have been doing it probably the longest for 3 decades. And we started off doing things with vegetables and then moved into meat protein isolates for numerous different reasons to satisfy the taste buds of the meat consumer. And, there's a lot of controversy going on at the moment about, oh, it's processed or it's this, but then so is meat normally and burgers. It's still using 99% less land, less water, 47% less energy, it's better for you. So there's no argument. The main thing to correct is the price point. Because if you took away the subsidies that the taxpayer is paying to the farmer to feed the cows, we would be the same price point. So what we've been trying to do is get the farmers to convert their arable land to growing grains. And then we farm to fork use like the oats and numerous other grains to make into plant-based products.
Yeah.
So we need to educate the consumer more about their choice on the aisle.
It's all about informing them, isn't it, for their lifestyle changes and choices that they can make for a better and bigger planet.
Yeah, and problem solving by getting and lobbying the government to educate the powers that be, instead of thinking of their 4-year term, to think of the next 40 years and whether there will be a planet and what needs to happen now and how simple those solutions are, because they really are simple. If you just clear away the bullshit and the barriers, it's all very easy to solve.
And that's the way forward as well, like short-term and also long-term solutions as well.
Exactly.
Great. And how do you see meat-free being a benefit, not just to the consumers, but also to the planet as well?
Well, I mean, most people in the meat-free sector already know that it's the most efficient way an individual can contribute to minimizing global warming, animal cruelty, better for the health. And that all comes back to, you can't have a concern for the environment if you're not vegan, because the two go hand in hand. Everyone talks about planes and trains and automobiles, but that's a tiny percent, an important percent, but a tiny percent compared to eating meat and dairy. Every time you eat it, you are contributing to the devastation of the planet. Scientifically proven. We've gone on about it for 30 years. It's been ignored, but now it's been 100% confirmed. So there's more than one reason to go meat-free.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully we can change people's mindsets, but also educate them at the same time.
Yeah,
as well.
And people are busy and they're, find it difficult with finances. But actually, as a taxpayer, you would be spending very wisely on meat-free, saving the planet and more environmental, more ethical. You're healthier, so you're less on hospital bills, NHS, private care, whatever it is. It all goes around in circles, and we have to think outside the box of just the one thing. It's the ripple effect and the domino effect that it has in devastating your health, the animals, and the environment.
Exactly. It definitely all has an impact, doesn't it, at every level? And also, what key points do you want to communicate with our audience today?
Well, the things I talked about today were about problem solving. You've got this very disjointed sector of, oh, you shouldn't. Why do people want meat alternates? Why don't they just have vegetables? Why do people want this? You need the three sectors. People are addicted to fast food, so you have to replace identical, as much as possible, fast food replacements. Once you've got them off that, it then goes on to stage 2, which is more whole foods. We've done it with millions of people around the world over the last 30 years. You start off with the meat replacements for fast food junkies or for people who want to have it at the weekend. And then you slowly introduce vegetables, change the metabolism, the way the taste buds are, and then they move to stage 2. And then you have a stage 3, which will be the future, because over 50, your digestive enzymes aren't as good, your hydrochloric acid levels aren't as good. So then you need to go into the low FODMAP arena. But you need all three, and you will for decades to come.
Yeah.
It's not about only that or only that or only that. When we started 30 years ago, we made vegetable-based burgers. And they were clean and they're quinoa-based and all vegetables. But fast food, you only had Mr. Wimpy back then, and they did a bean burger. And then you moved more into McDonald's and Burger King and just cheap meat. And then now we've educated them to put in vegan burgers in there. because there is going to be that demand always, and they're the people that can make it price point efficient. So
Exactly.
you need all three, and you naturally, and I've seen it with thousands and thousands of people, will get fed up with meat-free alternates, and you'll want more whole foods, you'll want more beans. You won't believe you will, but your taste buds will evolve and you will move more to that sector.
Exactly.
It's like taking someone off drugs. You have to wean them
Slowly,
off and
yes.
take them over the bridge, and then they move to stage 2.
Exactly, and that's what we want as a norm, as part of our lifestyle, is for us to be like, right, that's okay, I can have a vegan burger, I can have a vegan alternative.
Local ingredients, local
Exactly.
farming, and then getting those farmers with any arable land to make those products, and then using the subsidies they get so they can continue to learn and educate themselves, and even convert that land that's not arable into
yes.
you know, making it nitrogen rich and being able to grow vegetables.
Exactly, there's so much opportunity at every level.
Yeah.
Just being on board, isn't it?
But everyone has to come together to do it. You know, there is a meat and dairy community. There is not a vegan community in the manufacturing sector. Everyone's disjointed, and it's like Lord of the Rings with Gollum. It's like, it's mine, it's mine.
Yeah.
They need to leave the manufacturing to the experts like us at V-Bites, and then they get on with branding. When you get that huge volume, you start to price point match, which is essential for the consumer.
And why do you think that's the case when it comes to these manufacturers? Why is it that they're not seeing eye to eye that what we can do to help with this industry or add to it?
Brands that are coming into sector think they've got some amazing IP, and they don't understand that we've been doing it for 30 years. We're already on the next 10 levels of different isolates in fava or lentil or chickpea or algae. So, you know, we've done it all. So they think they've discovered something new, and because they haven't looked outside of their chemical box. And when they do, they think, oh, well, now we can manufacture it. And it's easy to manufacture on a small scale and then a medium scale. You wait till you get to a mega scale to keep the quality, the consistency of the product perfect. That's more difficult. And at mass volume, it makes more sense that you've got experts that manufacture and experts that have a brand and go into the market. The disjointed area is where you don't make enough volume, you can't price compete.
Yeah.
So we need to get all of those vegan companies that make vegan burgers, vegan sausages, vegan nuggets, because they're all much of a muchness in different isolates through the same extrusion machine and blah, 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 just to go to V-Bites and get them to mass manufacture it all.
Yeah.
It's much easier. And then UK can manufacture for UK, and then, you know, factories in Europe can do for Europe, and then you start to set the plants up, but you can't justify creating a new factory until you sweat out and reach the ceiling level of your own business.
Exactly. And how is it also on an international level as well? Because obviously with the UK, that's really, you know, invested in this industry. What about North America or even the Asia market? How is veganism kind of working for them, or how is it getting really to try those products which
well, you
might
know,
have cultural issues?
Asia basically were the creators of the products. You know, I learned everything in the early days by being in Taiwan and Thailand, and in the Buddhist sector. That's what they lived off, was high meat alternate proteins. The problem that Asia have now is that we, the Western world, have gone in and ruined their community by chucking loads of fast food products in there. And so now Asia's trying to do everything to educate the public and the youth to push it back. And the only way they can do that is by putting in vegan burgers, vegan this. Then they will eventually take them back over to the bridge of the original food that is Asian, that is more healthy than anything.
Yeah.
So it's about taking some industries backwards. You know, the British typical food was never particularly healthy. So we've moved that way and sideways. But Asia, I mean, it had the most healthy food humanly possible. But we've gone and wrecked it as the Western community. Now, as far as the other question with America and North America, is that you've got people who are not vegan, who haven't understood the market in the flexitarian, who've just set up, and they're brilliant at selling. You know, so they'll make it out like they've got some technical advantage on something, which they haven't. It's so basic, but they're really good at that marketing. But that only lasts so long, and if the product's not amazing, and you have a problem with supply chain, and you think you know how to manufacture, but actually you don't, and you have constant issues, you know, be an expert in the area you're an expert in. It's not time for starting to startup things that other people can do 10 times more efficiently, cost effectively, and with great supply chain.
Exactly.
You know, I know that because I was one of the people now 30 years ago who thought I could do it all and had to learn by all those mistakes. But it was a tiny market, so it wasn't such an issue. Whereas now we know exactly what we're doing. We've been in the business for 30 years and, you know, we're ahead of everybody on the game of innovation. So yeah, it's important that we create an alliance like the meat and dairy industry have of everybody that's interested in the vegan plant-based sector in any product, and that we create farm to fork within the country wherever possible, and where not, you import those products into. But UK is nuts. We voted for Brexit. I didn't, I wasn't that daft, but voted for Brexit, and the buyers still buy from Europe. And you're like, why are you buying from Europe when 10 minutes from you, because you haven't done your research, is the biggest 100% plant-based manufacturer in the world?
Again,
hilarious.
It's that educational piece, isn't it?
Yeah.
That people need to know about this industry, the know-hows, what's been happening.
And it helps their carbon footprint minimizing, it's more sustainable. It's already made here.
Yeah.
So why are you going over to Europe and bringing it in? It's here. The best is here.
Exactly.
We started it 30 years ago. It is absolutely the best here.
Yeah. Amazing. And just one last question, which is, how has your time been at Meat Free Strategies?
How much what?
How has your time been here?
I've really enjoyed the conference. You know, I've seen a lot of faces that have been around for a long time. One Planet Pizza, it was great to see young Joe up there talking. I was his first investor in his business from scratch, as with many of them. So it's really nice that entrepreneurship, and he's really grown as an individual in his knowledge, and you know, learned from what he's doing, and is a good voice for startups on what to do and what to learn from.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me and having this interview. Really appreciate it.
Great, thank you.